Just make an effort to talk in the direction of the mic.
Yeah, that's all.
That's all.
I'll do my fucking
I'll
best
do my
while I
best
hold
too.
our child.
Yeah, I agree.
And today's entire episode will be Dawn and Gavin bickering. Welcome to Introspectively Speaking. I'm Amber Linette, an avid podcast listener and 35-year-old girl from Miami, Florida, who one day felt inspired to share my personal stories and spill my own tea with the world. After a big dose of You Only Live Once, I'm creating the content that I so desire, but only ever read about in slice-of-life fiction novels. I'm an everyday person going through life's roller coaster, but choose to honestly, vulnerably, and introspectively share my stories with you in an effort to inspire a different kind of wellness. Transcendence through introspection for all. Though the very real stories in this podcast are about me, they'll also hold up a mirror to you. I encourage you to listen with an open mind and curiosity. On any given day, this podcast might make you laugh, or it might make you cry. And now it's time to go on some trails. Okay, welcome back everybody to Introspectively Speaking. This is Amber Linette, and I'm sitting on the couch in Austin, Texas with my best friend Dawn and her husband, of which we've just spent the last, like an hour, right, Gavin?
Yeah.
Like an hour trying to figure out how to hook up two mics to the laptop to bring you this episode today. So hopefully as we go through it, you're going to get good sound quality as usual, and maybe even a few coos from their precious little baby girl who's also joining us today. But have no fear, a baby's not just with us. We also have our 3 glasses of Sauterne.
Well said.
Yes, which Gavin has already finished.
Oh my God.
I got a low pour.
Lush. No, you have the same exact pour as
I
us.
have to get to my beer.
Okay.
Because he's going to have a beer next, and so that makes sense. So,
Take care of the child.
So, all right, guys, what are we, okay, before we get into what we want to talk about today, which is going to be probably a bunch of different shit. We've talked, like, the whole weekend so far about so many other things that should have been recorded already, but that's how life goes. First, Dawn, I would like to hear you tell the story of how you and I know each other.
Oh my God. The story of how we met.
Yeah, how do we know each other?
Okay, so we know each other from way back when. We met, I think we were about maybe 10, 10 or so. We weren't friends yet.
No.
We became friends when fake IDs came into play. Can I talk about that, or is that like no?
Yeah,
no
whatever you want.
Okay. Amber had a fake ID. I had a fake ID.
Introspectively speaking.
Introspectively, we had fake IDs.
Okay, but we've known each other since the 4th grade. Key Biscayne Elementary. But we became true friends in the 9th grade when we started like really paying attention to boys with a Z.
Okay, so I'm going to tell the real story of how we met.
How do we, what do you mean?
No, you're right. We did, but I can't let everybody think that it was that easy.
Oh God. Are you talking about our cucumber sandwiches?
Oh no.
And that's not like code
No.
for something.
No, I'm talking about the fact that one day I was at my house when I lived in, this is when
Gus, shut up. Shut up. Anytime she would leave me a voicemail or I would call her back, shut up, Gus. Her parakeet. He
wasn't a parakeet. He was a parrot. He was annoying. And
He was a parrot?
Yeah. He was a blue-headed Amazon or something like that.
How old did he
I mean, like,
Birds live to be like 1,000 years.
They're
So
really
where
old.
is he?
Dead?
What? How long had he been like passed down?
What? Birds live a long time.
We went to dinner with a guy, and he said his wife has had it for 50 years.
I know. But
he was, I don't know, he died
who
like
was
a
he
few years
passed
ago.
by? Like who passed him to you guys? If he's
What do you mean we bought him?
Yeah, but he must have been very old.
No, we bought him when he was like, I don't know, regular bird age. I don't know.
Then they clearly don't live 1,000 years.
No, but he
was
lived.
sick.
Okay, maybe my bird was not that healthy and he didn't live 1,000 years. But look it up. It's true. Birds live a very long time.
I know that, but that's why I was like, oh, maybe like your great great grandma.
Oh, you're like, how is he dead already? Because you really think that they lived to be like 1,000.
Well,
Got it.
His friend or
They're
whoever,
old.
50 years.
At least.
They live, I think,
Paris,
to be
at
like
least.
100. Okay, guys, we can just fix this real quick. Let's see how long do birds live.
Oh my God, Amber probably never paid any attention and got depressed and passed away.
He lived with my
She forgot
dad,
to feed him.
and my dad probably didn't take care of him. I'm gonna get PETA on our ass. How long do birds live?
I mean, people are gonna be like, Dawn and Gavin, yikes.
Okay, a bird's lifespan is generally correlated with its size. I just want to know how long.
So an albatross is the oldest
Oh,
bird?
I was wrong. No. Okay, hawks, for example. Okay, cockatoos. That's a good example. Cockatoos live 25 to 40 years, but can live over 100 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and macaws can live 25 years if they're small, or 40 years if they're large,
This is
but
going
can live
in
over
the
80
podcast.
years. So I'm right.
Okay.
They live a long time. He died. So, all right. So here's how it went. There was one day where I got over 5 voicemails from Dawn calling me on my house phone.
That's not that much, by the way, in
That's-
my world.
Yeah, well, the voicemails got progressively worse. The first one was like, "Hey Amber, it's Dawn. I was just calling to see if you wanted to sleep over this weekend. All right, cool. Let me know. Call me back. Bye." And then my mom was like, "Amber, Dawn's calling." I'm like, okay. And then Dawn would call again, and I don't know, for some reason I was avoiding it, and the voicemails turned into like, "All right, Amber, all right, okay, so look, it's like the 5th time I've called you, and I don't know, just like call me back. Like, I just wanted to see if you wanted to hang out this weekend."
This is real. This is not.
I'm not
she's
kidding.
Not exaggerating. This was, and I would not be surprised if this was in the same day.
I mean,
It
she didn't
was in
call
the
you
same
back.
day.
It's kind of messed up.
Oh, she's awful.
She's a little cruel.
But eventually I
Killed a
broke.
parrot and-
I mean, I'm an only child. I moved from another country. I'm an immigrant, by the way. I'm an immigrant. I am.
You are.
Just because I'm from an amazing country doesn't mean that it's vive la France. And so I moved here, not with many friends, with just a shirt on my back and my beret and a baguette.
Oh my God.
And I didn't have friends. No, all jokes aside, I didn't have friends. And this is how Amber decided to treat me. I clearly needed love. And
Eventually I gave it to her though, because then we grew up and together, and I would
That's
just.
not how you met. Like,
That's
why
how
did
we
she
met. It
why'd
was
she
in
even call you in
school.
the
we went to
first place?
school and
We were in
But how'd you
school.
hit it off though? That first time?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I just was like, okay, I'll give it a try.
I think she was, as you can tell, Amber is very open-minded and very kind, and she was willing to take a chance. Anyway,
Okay, so that's enough about us for now, because we'll probably get into other things as we go through this. But anyways, we're both 35. Are you 35 or are you 36?
35. Thank you.
35. Yeah, well, sorry. We're both 35, and so we've been friends this whole entire time, and we haven't dumped each other yet.
No.
So that's a good thing.
Yet.
Now, Gavin, because Gavin's also joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Gav man.
I would say a fun fact is I think I'm the most emotionally intelligent person I've ever met. And I think I know everything about emotionalness.
Hold on. No one fucking asked.
Well,
We didn't ask for a fun fact. We're like, Gavin, introduce yourself. Not like,
I mean, just
I
by
had
saying
hemorrhoids
that,
at the
you
age
kinda
of 18
Okay, so
and I'm a
Gavin
Taurus.
wants people to think
Yeah, I
that
guess
he is the most emotionally intelligent person that he knows. So
That's
that
fair.
must mean that you know yourself. You feel like you know yourself very well.
and
But
other
it,
people. That
and
know.
I was gonna say, but it also has to mean that you think that you know other people emotionally.
I feel like I'm usually one step ahead of their feelings. Not necessarily their intelligence, but their feelings.
Okay, because you can anticipate how somebody might feel.
Take something.
He
Okay.
reads things. He reads into things.
Like too much? Or do you take things for
oh my
face value?
God. What happened to this child?
Oh my God, she's like slobbered everywhere.
No, I think I read into him like appropriately and pretty deeply, and I think that I don't know what caused me to be so skilled at this, but I feel like it's like a lot of patience is one of the biggest features. And I know that some people would say he's got a temper, but I think that's all for show.
I don't know. I just
want to say to those people, fuck you. And look at me now.
I don't know. I look at Gavin as he's telling me this, and it's not that I don't believe him. I just think that you have a little crazy in your eyes right now. As you tell me
right
this.
now.
Yeah. There's a little bit of unawareness. Like I might accidentally insult someone. So I guess that doesn't make me, that's the most.
You're willing to take a chance.
Take a chance? Yeah. What is it? Take a chance? Make a change.
Oh yeah.
And break away. Okay.
You can.
All right. So let's see. Okay, but all right. That's how you want to introduce yourself then, like as the world's most emotionally intelligent
Want another
person.
fun fact? Not too much else that's actually legitimately compelling. Yeah, deep thinking, and you kind of that was implied in the first comment. Obviously, very humble.
Now he's overthinking what he said.
I would say the other important thing to know is like I'm pretty good at trivia, and so it means I know a few facts.
Okay.
And I'm really good at extrapolating from those facts. So I think that's a talent as well.
Okay, I think you are a highly logical person. I think that you are one of the smartest people that I've met.
Damn.
I think he is very good at trivia. You can hear that Gavin has a little twang in his voice. So you are from West Virginia. You've lived in a couple different places. I'm trying to think of what else. You are very good at what you do. I won't say what you do. We'll keep that a secret for everybody.
Sure.
And then now everybody's going to be like, what the fuck does he do?
I don't accept norms. I like solving problems that people say can't be solved because they're constrained by their own biases. I was thinking of a unique sense of humor. That one guy I thought was pretty unique recently was Tim Robinson. He does that show that I like. It's called I Think You Should Leave. I've never seen humor like it before.
Yeah, I remember. You guys like strapped me down to the couch and made me watch like 5 episodes. It was funny. It was funny.
But if I'm to make a funny thing, it'll have to come at the expense of someone usually. More often than not, it's myself. But
okay.
It's like I need. It's usually sarcastic, I'd say, insulting. Yeah, and a person that's not emotionally intelligent.
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen like it. I mean, my God, I wasn't used to it when I met him.
I don't know if. I mean, maybe I'll change my mind, but I don't know if somebody not being emotionally intelligent is going to be like the determining factor if they're going to be able to handle your humor or not, or if it's more that they are like, I don't know, able to not take themselves so seriously.
I would lump that in emotional intelligence. That could be stupid on my part, but I would, if obviously I don't think that's IQ. Like it has nothing to do with normal like logic, taking themselves serious. So I'd say that it has to be emotional intelligence.
But this is the thing.
Yeah.
I think you need emotional intelligence to understand his humor, to understand it.
Okay.
Not to like it or dislike it. That's like, it is what it is. But you need to have high emotional intelligence to get, oh, he's fucking with me. Because I've watched people where Gavin, like he just like zings. Like they're just coming out, and they're coming out fast. And you watch people that are like, huh? Like, oh, wait, what? Like, they don't, like, really get it, or... So that's what I think he means by emotional intelligence, if I'm correct. Like, so they get it. They get it, whether they like it or not. That's a different situation.
So I think... Okay, hold on, because I'm going to look up also emotional intelligence now, just so that, like, we know exactly what it is, because I consider myself to be an emotionally intelligent person, and if you didn't know, it's actually a higher... indicator of somebody's success versus IQ. So if you are more emotionally intelligent, you are more likely to be successful than if you have a high IQ. So that's
that sounds like one of those things that's a weird correlation. I would say like people that are successful tend to be emotionally intelligent, but I don't know if the correlation implies causation. It's a famous like quote there, but it's interesting.
It's so emotional intelligence is the ability to manage both your own emotions and understand the emotions of people around you. There are 5 key elements to EI. I thought it was EQ, but it's EI. Well, duh. Emotional intelligence. Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. And so I bring it up because just to kind of like go down the rabbit hole of what you said, I oftentimes don't get sarcasm. Like, it's not until I see somebody else laughing about it that I'm like, oh, it was a joke. I'll take things very literally, or it'll just go over my head. So, yeah, I don't know if it's like the fact that I'm not emotionally intelligent or if it's just that I'm not like smart.
It's interesting because I don't think like it's an innate skill. I think it's a learned skill. So it's maybe you're just like emotionally ignorant right now, and because you haven't been exposed to it enough. And there's certainly about a billion things that like I haven't been exposed to that I'm a little ignorant to.
You just need to hang out a little more with us. If you just
to get it.
Okay,
then it's more. Then it's maybe not. So then then it's like more like norm, like a norm of your like relationship culture, for example. That you have to kind of like adapt to.
Oh, 1,000%.
The same way that you might go to a country and they're like used to doing like they do something different
like
than what.
Or like what? Yeah.
Right.
Before him, like I had never ever dated nor like probably encountered someone that has a style of humor. So at first it was like a shock to the system. I was his PR agent that he was not paying. Like and no one asked me to be, but I was just like, he was joking. That was a joke. Like I had to constantly be like ready to laugh on cue so that people would know like, oh, he's just kidding, because he comes on so heavy. And mind you, I'm saying this like I'm critiquing it, but and I'm not saying this because I'm married to you. You're like a brilliant human being in many, many ways, and one of them is like your emotional intelligence. Like it's wicked.
I think that's full circle. I've just convinced the audience.
Yeah, no, because you're smart, book smart, clearly, but like you're at a level where I don't know. Like I don't think many people have been exposed to it, is what I'm trying to say. The fact that you like Tim Robinson, first of all, we should have like handed out your phone number to everyone that was in the crowd at that Tim Robinson Q&A thing, because they clearly get his humor. And you would probably
make friends.
Yeah. Hey,
nice.
Hey, everyone.
He's probably one of the hottest comics right now.
Tim Robbins, is his stand-up anything like his show?
His stand-up is a big step off the show.
I was wondering, like, how is he going to pull that off? Because his actual, like, the TV show, there's just so much prop in it. Like, right? It's just like
the best part of the show, he showed skits of the show.
Yeah. And so they weren't doing skits. They were doing almost like not a Q&A, like a panel sort of discussion thingy.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
And some of it was clearly like rehearsed.
I was like ready to go.
It was not good.
Yeah, because you maybe had like an expectation of what it might be like based on the show.
Yeah.
That's a mutually exclusive type of humor. And like, I don't expect someone to be great on TV and writer and on...
Yeah, that's true, because just because you have a successful show, there's like thought, there's editing that goes into it. But when you're doing stand-up, I mean, don't get me wrong, people come up with their material, they practice it. It's just like you're working with less, and you have to kind of use your words very wisely in order to get a rise from the crowd. I think there's like so many things that go into it, like the relatability to the crowd. People laugh at things that they relate to. And so... Yeah. If they don't, or if, I don't know, there's so many things that go into it, like how good your presence is on the stage. And
it's almost gotten political in a way too.
His stand-up?
No, it's just like it's like the
so careful.
You people conform to like a certain person, whether it be political, like their shtick or is political or not. But like you see a lot of the same people that like think the same way, like the same person. And so there's a lot of conformity there. It's interesting. And you see it culturally with that, like that freaking blue collar comedy tour.
Oh yeah, there was like a whole like the whole personas there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who did I listen to? It was like one of the podcasts that I listened to that they said that Carrie the Label Guy, they thought, oh, I know, it was
Carrie the Label Guy.
It was okay, so it's this
Larry the Cable Guy.
It's this gay
Carrie the
couple,
Label Guy.
Danae Hayes.
Stop it. Stop what you're saying
What?
and listen to what you said.
It's this gay couple?
No, you're like Carrie the Label Guy. It's Larry the Cable Guy.
That's so down.
Carrie the Label Guy. You remember that? It was award-winning. That was brilliant.
Did you both catch it at the same time?
Yeah.
He did, and he repeated it,
Oh.
and I was like, "That's amazing."
All right, what is it? Larry the Cable Guy.
Yep.
Okay, so it was on this podcast, and it's this gay couple, Danae Hayes and Mandy Kai, I think their names are, and this one of them thought that Larry the Cable Guy, that was like who he was. She didn't understand that it was his comedy persona.
Gotcha.
You know, so I don't know why I said that.
Well, that's
Oh, because you were talking about like how people conform and like the blue
Yeah.
collar thing and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
okay. I think I'm thinking more of so I'm thinking about things that you said within that I have questions about that aren't really down the political route.
Yeah.
But okay, so you got to answer all of them though. So the first question would be
I'm not the expert on this, but I can venture to guess.
okay, but this is going to be about you. So you
Okay.
are the expert on this.
Okay.
Okay, so when you say that you were going to, you made a decision not to conform to, who would you have conformed to? Like, what was that person or, that you could potentially have conformed to that you decided not to?
Yeah. So it was the general overarching theme was overarching,
Overarching, I
overarching
think?
theme
Overarching.
was country tough. You got to be country tough.
Okay.
And I never quite fit into that because I liked, and I don't know the features that make up country tough. Like I think like strength may be one of them, but like you like certain things about farming and hunting and all that good stuff. Of those features, another big one, like besides hunting, I can't stand it. It just made me feel bad. Once you're doing it, like the adrenaline rush is insane, and like you will go all the way through to a kill. But like, damn, it always made me feel like shit, and like, I just disgusted by like the fact that I hunted at one point. Same for fishing, even though I got so much pleasure out of it, I just fucking can't imagine.
You enjoyed being on the boat with friends,
Yeah.
like the act of like doing something together, but you didn't actually enjoy like even what is it, catch and throw or
release,
or catch and release, or like it's just he brought me that way too.
Even without like a treble, like a trebleless hook, I just can't like give something else pain that has like a family and shit. That's so fucked up. And now I kind of like became radical about it. It's like, to me, it's like one step like below murder. Like you fucking like get pleasure out of that, you're kind of fucked up.
We're gonna get
Okay, so it was the country tough, like.
So that hunting was a big part.
Archetype.
Another part was music. So you
Okay.
had to like a certain style of music, and I was raised to like classic country, and I loved it. But like the performers I liked, and mainly I was groomed by my dad to like them, and like it doesn't matter because I really do honestly love them, and like they give me like goosebumps like when I hear the songs, and so it's beautiful. I don't care if like, you know, maybe if I had another dad, it'd been another style of music, but it doesn't matter. It's still the same end result. I'm happy with it. Like it's a lot of pleasure, but like they always like this one like the super like hardcore country performer, and it's just like never jive with me, and so just always kind of faked it a bit until I didn't fake it anymore, and I owned it. And like once I started owning it, like that I like country music and Broadway and shit like that, like it felt a lot better, and actually I think people kind of respected me a little more
Okay.
because I wasn't like oh shit, I know I'm rambling, but like one time I wore baggy jeans with cowboy boots,
Okay.
and got fucking belligerently made fun of by like all these rednecks that I was trying to fit in with, and it's just like fuck.
Oh,
It's like,
man, that's
no
tough.
chance. I have no chance. Just can't do any right.
That's crazy because that you felt like there was like a sense of conformity that went into it, considering that you were raised with that culture and those
Don't you think
things.
you conformed in your childhood if you look
100.
back?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think the point that I'm trying to get at is that I guess we could all have been made fun of even for conforming to something that we grew up with or could claim as like original, like this is who I am. Does that make sense? Like, why would somebody make fun of you for wearing baggy jeans and cowboy boots if that was like the thing?
They didn't respect me, I suppose.
Okay.
There you go.
Fucking A, dude. All right.
I'm pretty sure I had a
Oh, God, it's so fucking boring. I'm going to scratch that personally.
All right, now we're going to switch gears. Okay, well, you know what? That was a little slice of Gavin Hall's brain, and I'm still spiraling and thinking about all of it, and we'll be thinking about it. But now I would like to switch gears to the topic of parenthood.
Share the track.
Don DSJH. Okay, let me think of a good question to ask you. Well, okay, I guess tell us about when did you know that you wanted to be a mama?
Well, okay, so I was talking about this earlier while washing the dishes, and you guys were setting this up and not listening to me properly. Gavin hollered and said, I heard you, but Amber was clearly not listening.
That was the emotional intelligence.
But, yes, exactly. Highly emotionally intelligent. So, like most, yeah, I could probably generalize that, like, I feel like most little girls, like, we grow up, most of us, playing with dolls and, you know, always, like, thinking of motherhood and babies and all that jazz. And I very much did that. I always had my dolls, and I had a crib in my own baby room. I had a crib for my dolls and all that stuff. And so just ever since forever ago, since the beginning of time, I always pictured myself becoming a mom. And then as time went on, I think in my teens, I thought like 20 something was old. I was like, oh my gosh, when I'm like 23 or 24, I'm going to have 3 kids. I'm going to be married, all of that, which is actually not like that ridiculous because, well, my mom didn't. My mom had me at 41.
Oh,
My
wow.
mom had me at 41.
Okay.
But most moms, like Gavin's mom, for example, was much younger. So 23 is not ridiculous. But now looking back at what I was doing at 23, I was about to meet you, actually, right?
23.
I met you
23?
at 25.
Oh, wow.
I met you at 25.
Shit.
Yeah,
Dang.
it's almost been 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I was a young fox.
Young fox.
I was foxy. But looking back, you know, I was 15 saying this, I'm going to be married. I'm going to have children, like 2 or 3 kids. And then you actually hit that age and you're like, I have no fucking clue who I am. I have not even scratched the surface of figuring that out, let alone like doing most of the things I want to do before bringing a person into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first stage that hits like around that age. It's like, no fucking way. And
Around
you feel
15 years old?
like, when you actually hit like 23 or so.
Oh, I was like, dang.
Oh God, no! 15. I was like, I'm gonna have it all figured out by 23. Like, I'm gonna be like the CEO of a company. I'm gonna have, own my home. I'm gonna be married. I'm gonna have children. And then you hit 23 and you're still living at your parents' place. You're just still trying to figure it out. But I think once I did hit my 20s, I was like, oh wow, like there's just no way in hell I would do that right now. Just because I have so much to figure out for myself. And then, is this interesting?
Yeah.
Like, am I?
Yes,
okay,
continue.
I get this glare. Oh, you please leave this in. Gavin does this thing where he looks over at me like he's saying like, wrap it the fuck up. And I've asked him, I've called him out on it, like straight up. He does this when we're out with people.
Okay.
I'm like telling a story and he will look at me like, shut up.
Is that true though?
Oh, no,
Would
he
you
gives
say
me
that that's
this
what you are you
crazy-
feeling that in that moment?
No,
though?
but he's not. But I've called him out.
It's you.
I got sick of it and I was like, what? Like I stopped a conversation.
He's like,
one
what
day,
are you
and I was
talking
like,
about?
what do you, and he was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And so it was totally in my own head.
Oh, okay.
That I think, self-conscious. Mm-hmm. I'm not self-conscious around many people. Around Gavin, I am in public spaces because I'm like, this guy is so cool. And I'm still 10 years later trying to impress him. And so I just get like a little awkward. So I thought you were staring at me and you were trying to tell me this is boring.
I mean, Gavin just took us on like a 1 hour trip of the
I know.
electoral college, so
I can do this.
you can do this.
So
I was
23.
paying attention.
Thank
and
you.
for some reason, when I look at you, it looks like I'm glaring, I suppose. But I'm just like really paying attention.
This is the
funeral
emotionally
song plays.
intelligent part of him. I like it. I see it. I
What
see it
did
coming to life.
What have I done with my life? Why did I do this?
So 23, hell no, no way. And then I met Gavin a few years later, like 25. And when obviously realized like this is serious and I would love to spend my life with this person. And obviously, even if I felt that in the beginning, like you have to go through your own journey as a couple to like really get to a place where that is like a legitimate adult sound decision, because people can just get fucking married. You can get married the next day, meeting after meeting, but to like really, really be like, hey, we're going to take this seriously. We're going to like, marriage is a serious thing. And I want to like, we need to just be in a really great place. And obviously a relationship is a work in progress. You're not just going to get married and like, okay, we're at the finish line. Perfect. We got married. Everything is dandy. But I think in our 8 years before getting married, we had the mountainous, the hills, the valleys, the everything. And I really, really wanted us to be at a place when marriage came. Why you look like you're going to fucking kill me?
Dawn Simpson Jones, keep
you
going.
I wanted that when we did get married, for us to be not perfect, because we never will be, but be at a place where we are communicating in an intelligent manner, that we are respecting, we have mutual respect. We're just like mature fucking adults. Like we're just being adults. And we were able to achieve that, which I'm very proud of, by the way. The hormones, the postpartum hormones are a real thing, people, because I want to cry.
You can cry. This
No,
is a
I'm
podcast
fine.
where people
It
might
passed.
cry.
The like humor thing made it go away. So going back to children, obviously, as soon as I was like, oh my God, Gavin's the one, I'd love to spend the rest of my life with him, then came that feeling of like, I would love to have children with him. In those 8 years of being together, though, you obviously grow collectively and grow individually. My individual growth, I was starting to question nothing about my relationship and not wanting to have, how do I put it? Nothing about my relationship with Gavin. It was more of me, my purpose on this earth, and what my intentions were behind having a child. Was it societal like pressure of like, oh, you're a fucking woman, you should have a baby, like baby, marriage, baby, the whole thing? Is it that? Do I really want a child, and why? And if so, why?
Okay.
And with the lifestyle that we have of just like, we love to travel, we've been nomads for way too long. I started like questioning like if I wanted to have a child, which is kind of just like shocking, very shocking, because again, I've been
You always wanted it.
back to like being 4 years old playing with
Yeah.
your dolls. Like there was just no other future than to become a mom.
Yeah.
And then I don't think really, I started hearing other women talk about it, and especially like, I was fortunate enough to, with work and stuff, like be around really successful, powerful women in their industries that were like, oh yeah, like, no, I'm not, that's not for me. And I was like, holy shit, like people are making like, no, they just, no stress, no sweat. They're like, nope, no, thank you. Not for me. And I'm like, wow, what about me? Like,
Yeah.
Is it for me? I am maternal. I have maternal instincts and I love babies, but does that mean I should have a baby? So anyway, that's just a little shout out to all the ladies out there that are like feeling the pressure. Like there are many, many roads for us to go down and paths to explore, and you don't have to have a baby. It's a lot of fucking work.
Oh my
You
gosh.
don't have to have a baby. But it came down to Gavin and I getting closer and closer to getting married, and me asking, it really honestly came down to this question: would I regret not having a child with the love of my life, or the other way around? Or would I regret having had a child with the love of my life? And I just was like, man, I would so regret not having created a person. I mean, the most like egocentric fucking thing. Create a person that's half me, half him.
I think there's like no way around. I don't know. I haven't thought about it enough, but like, I think there's no way around the potential fact that having a child is like a little egocentric. It just, I think is, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I personally have decided not to. That doesn't mean that I'm not egocentric at all. That still means that I'm egocentric because I'm doing it for selfish reasons, right? But then also I feel like people might have kids also for selfish reasons.
Sure.
You know, like it could be for selfish reasons. It's not the only reason, but yeah, I mean, it's you. I can remember when I this is like 15 years old with like, you know, an ex-boyfriend and having the conversation of like, oh, like, you know, what baby names would you choose and like that kind of stuff. And in that moment it was, I mean, of course 15 years old, but in that moment it was purely like to have a little you, mm-hmm. You know, but I think to an extent it's still to have a little you. How cool is it for two people to make, don't drop this hotel.
Oh my God.
How cool is it for two people to make a little them? Oh. That's like the only thing to me that I'm like, that's cool. Like I would love to have a little, see what the product would be of like me and my person.
Like, are they gonna look cute? Like, cause
nobody
want an ugly baby.
And who are they gonna be more like? Are they gonna be more like me? Are they gonna be more like, you know, mm-hmm. partners? So
the mannerisms, all the stuff.
Yeah.
I will say, I think having a child, whatever the person's intentions are, you end up having to be, you're fully selfless. It is the most fucking selfless thing you can ever do. It can be incredibly selfish in many, many ways to have a child. Right. It's like you shouldn't have a child, all the reasons that we can imagine and can't imagine. But it is it is the most selfless act, whether you recognize it or not, before taking it, before making the baby, all the things, mm-hmm. because your former self is fucking gone. I don't care what anybody says. Obviously, you can reinvent yourself afterwards, and you can be a better version of the one before you. But it's just, you can literally wave goodbye when you're pulling up to the hospital to have your baby. You can wave goodbye to the former you. And again, I know like if this part of this goes on onto the podcast, some women or men too will be like, that's not fucking true. Like I stayed me. Good for you. Amazing.
Temporarily, it's impossible though. Like there's no time in the world that you can do it all. I agree with you.
Yeah, but also I'm assuming the person before having a baby was not that selfless. Like that's it. Like I will never care about me the way I used to care about me. Like everything, I will make sure I will fucking walk through fire for this kid. I probably wouldn't have walked through fire for myself.
Yeah, maybe not.
I will fucking go to the ends of the earth for this child. So I will always choose her over me.
I thought about that the other day too, and I would as well. So, and that was not the case before. So that's what I mean. It's just like part of you, there's no longer space for it. And I know, again, everyone listening, we're 10 weeks into this. So this might be like, oh, some people that have kids like, oh, they're 10 weeks in. No wonder they feel like this. It gets better. It gets easier. You'll find yourself again. I don't think I will ever find myself the old me. There's just going to be a new version, a new chapter. And that'll probably be a better version of me, honestly, like with what I've learned. But I was going to say one thing that I do find, can I keep ranting a little bit about this? Okay. That I do find interesting, and I think like people would potentially relate to this, that the moment we want oh my God.
Oh goodness, here we go.
If we need to be recording this with visuals with a camera, because if people saw the way he looked at me, they'd be like, oh, I get it. Like, I get it. This guy's like psychotic. He looks like he either wants to take me into the bedroom and rip my clothes off, or he's going to like literally strangle me and just watch the life leave my eyes. Like one of the two.
Yeah, there's a thin fine
Or
line
maybe a little
between
bit of both.
passion and anger.
We
I
just
think,
watched
right?
Christian Grey, or what's it, the
Oh my God, 50 Shades Freed.
50 Shades Freed last night.
All three of us on the couch.
Where, yeah, a
Very
throuple.
interesting.
The throuple watching.
The throuple watching 50 Shades Freed on the couch.
we had our throuple experience last night.
Oh my God.
I was gonna say, I mean, I don't know how you'll slip this into the podcast.
Just say it.
But the moment of us leaving the hospital, like, will forever live in my mind, of us sitting outside on our screened-in porch and me hugging Sunny.
Leaving for the hospital, not leaving the hospital.
Yeah,
leaving to
for-
the hospital.
yeah.
Leaving for the hospital. Sorry. We had to get induced because we had a little situation, cholestasis. Look it up. So had to get induced. So we knew when we were going in and everything. And I got to sit outside and I hugged our cat and I started crying hysterically for 2 reasons. One, am I going to come back? It's morbid, I know, but like, hell, like childbirth, we've been doing it for a while, but it's, you know,
Yeah, you never know.
Shit can happen. So the fear of the unknown, and also knowing that if I did come back, my God, I feel like I sound like if I did come back from the future, if I did come back, nothing will ever be the same. And that was like the morning of that, like everything just, it'll never be the same.
Yeah, it was like the final like ending line between previous Dawn and Gavin, and like now you're entering into like no turning back, right?
Yeah.
Now moving forward, it's really going to be different because you'll officially have a new human,
person
in the mix. I do have to say that I think that your perspective is one of a parent who really wants a child.
Okay.
And I mean, what I'm trying to say is that unfortunately there are people out there who suck and have kids and shouldn't be having kids.
Sure.
And I think all of us can think of a person in our head right now that we all know of, like, well, that person, because they might, you know, everybody will choose to raise their children in whatever fashion they choose. But I've seen some like fucked up shit, like people raising their kids in some just like not kind ways. And it makes me wonder, like, why does that kind of person decide to have a child? So you and Gavin have like a really you've gotten to a point like of growth in your personal development and your development as a relationship where you're like, you've made with confidence a decision to bring a child into the world, right? I don't think it was like a oops, even if it was an oops. Does that make sense? It was like a plan.
An oops.
It was like a plan to an extent, you know?
It was. And I know, like, well, this is a whole other thing, and maybe we can touch on it. I don't know. But we can at some point talk about breaking, what is it, Mia, our other bestie. Hey, Mia.
Shout out.
You're going to listen. You're going to hear your name. Mia mentioned it. She said, like, breaking the
mold?
Nope. It's like breaking the cycle.
Breaking the cycle.
Breaking the cycle.
Shitty parenting, yeah.
So, all of us out there that have had, like, trauma in our lives.
Mommy and daddy issues.
Yeah, mama, dada issues. I certainly have them. And I have people in my life, left and right, that have them. And when you are fortunate enough to bring a child into this world with someone that cares about that as well, and cares about the child's well-being and like making the absolute best decisions for that baby, that's really exciting to know, like, man, we're gonna get to break that. Like, this shit stops now, like the toxic cycles and all of that, and just being with a very aware partner, just being two very aware parents of like, she's gonna be lucky. I think that's just like what we've kind of said over and over. Like, she's going to be a lucky kid because she won't know that type of shit. She just won't. Like, we won't let it happen. And, hopefully she'll be able to carry that on if she decides to, I'm like choking up because I'm thinking of her having children. Oh God. That's a long time away though, so everything's okay. She's literally 10 weeks old. Awful.
Oh, and she's just knocked the fuck out.
She
oh my
is.
God.
She should be eating right now, but
She's sleepy.
she's so tired.
All right, and so thank you
Hotel
for.
reservations at 6, don't you?
We canceled them.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we canceled those. Well, I feel like Jay Shetty. I'm like, thank you so much for sharing. All of that. Yeah. So thank you. Now I want to hear from Dad's perspective, your journey into parenthood, and like, what does that mean for you, and what has it been like?
It's easy to not be attached at the beginning because you're not playing a huge part. So you're not carrying the baby. Life goes on just as it was the day before, unless you want to hyperfixate on your wife's belly, which is like not that stimulating. So yeah, life goes on for 9 months. You can booze, you can do whatever you choose. That's good.
He's really selling it to the dudes. He's like, guys, you can still get fucking wasted.
Here's my number. Let's be friends.
Oh my God, he'll coach you through it all, guys.
Yeah, and then I didn't always think I wanted kids, and my mom would say differently, but definitely like wanted someone to share things with, whether it was. No, I just wanted to share them with. Like my dad and I had an amazing relationship. We shared some of the most formidable years of my life together, whether sports or music or whatever. It was awesome. I want that same relationship. But I did realize it was probably about 3 weeks ago that like all the shit I'm ready for is like when they're like 13 or 14. So I was like, fuck, I need to like embrace myself for these 13 years, like make them enjoyable somehow. This
is so honest. I love it.
Yeah. So I've learned to like just appreciate it a little bit. Like it doesn't come natural to me to sit down and just appreciate shit, but like
I also think, like, to Don's point, you guys are only 10 weeks in, right? And that this is so brand new. You've probably seen other people. No, not you. Probably you have seen other people like your sister and Maddox, right? And so, yeah, I think with time you will figure it out. How to appreciate
absolutely.
Those moments.
I was talking to my niece today. She's 3, and like she can
cute.
give a back and forth now pretty well. Like understand like 80% of English, and it's really stimulating. It's really fun. So there's going to be a lot of little wins along the way, and this is really precious. Like obviously our baby can't give anything back right now, but little smiles and hugs
and poop.
I'm learning to appreciate it. It doesn't come natural, but I'm learning to appreciate it.
She took a shit on me the other day.
Yeah.
She took a shit on me yesterday.
She did.
She shat on me.
Dedicated.
Yeah. It was cute.
Sometimes I have to like say like, oh, this is you, little you, to like make me like feel a little more
connected.
Yeah.
But I will say, I don't know if the mic can hear me, but I will say, so we just did our baby newborn photo shoot the other day, and it surprised me because by what you guys are hearing Gavin say, it's just like it's taking him a lot to connect. Clearly wasn't carrying the baby, so I understand that. And it was like I had to ask him, like, hey, like we actually got into an argument about it while I was pregnant, where I was like just lightly trying to like, hey, like you should talk to the baby more. Like if you can talk to the baby more. And that upset you. Like you were like a little, remember? Like, I don't know.
I don't remember specifically, but I can see why I was.
I think you just, first of all, he's like going through, like he's working, he's got all these like pressures and all this stuff. And so obviously no one wants to feel like they're not doing like a good job being like, a parent or well, he was a to-be parent. But I remember I was just like, oh, like you should talk to the baby more. I hear it's like really good for them to hear your voice. And anyway, I think it takes, once Gavin cares about something, I've never seen anyone put as much effort and like not on the surface effort, he will dig to the core of the earth to understand something. I've never seen anything like it. It makes me feel like the laziest piece of shit living with him, because he will just understand completely like unpack something. So I had known from watching him with Maddox, with our niece, that the newborn stage is just not that thrilling to him. He is not going to be like goo goo gaga, like staring at the baby. Is just not him, even though he happens to be someone that is incredibly loving and cuddly. Like, he cuddles me all the time. One of his love languages is definitely, I don't know if it's one of the ones that they list out, but like touch,
Yeah, it is.
affection is 100%. Like, he hits all of the love languages, actually. So, but I kind of braced myself, like, interesting. Like, he really got to like connecting with our niece once she was able to do things like move around, talk, because he needs that exchange. He needs that stimulation to provide stimulation. There needs to be some sort of reciprocation. So with a newborn, it's kind of like just staring at you like, eh. It hasn't been the most like, oh my gosh, I feel super connected.
I feel like that makes a lot of sense though. Like I can understand, yeah, like if there's no exchange, or I don't know. I think I get it though, and I think it's probably a really real perspective that not enough we hear enough like men speak about.
Well, I was just going to quickly say, during the newborn shoot, you did cry, which was very shocking. I looked over and he was like, "Oh, can I do some photos now?" Because I was kind of like directing the shoot, and he was like, "Can I do something?" And this is adorable, and everyone will love this. I was like, "Oh, like this would be something like nice to wear, I think." And so he had picked out his outfit, and at the end of the photo shoot, he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna switch clothes, and I'm gonna wear what I usually wear at the house, lounging around." So, for all those cinephiles out there that want to be friends with Gavin, because he kills it at his movie picking, Dario, what's his name? Argento. Suspiria, wife beater. Is that something that is that canceled to say that, or no? Oh, anyways, cut off, sleeveless.
Yeah.
Sleeveless.
His white tank top.
Oh, I don't know if Eve is gonna get picked up, but she's shitting on me. Anyways, tank top, male tank top. Suspiria male tank top with just like sweatpants. He was like, I'm going to switch into that. And so he did like his final little photos of the photo shoot with wearing that. And he started tearing up holding Eve. And I was like, holy shit. And he was like, yeah, it's just, it's like this moment in time that's getting captured, and like so sweet. So I think you're coming around the river bend.
Yeah.
The little smiles are helping, probably.
They are.
And everyone's saying that she looks like you.
I love that.
That must help.
It's I think someday we'll be able to manipulate.
Oh my God, she's shitting so hard.
Oh my God, that was a big poop. We'll be able to manipulate time non-linearly someday, but for now we understand it linearly.
Oh my God! Like,
and,
what are you doing?
And I'm saying that makes me cry. That's what made me cry.
Oh, because you thought. Okay, for those, again, if anyone out there just understood what Gavin said, please hit up Amber. We will give Gavin's email address so you guys can become friends. He's thebomb.com, but probably 0.1%.
Dawn came on the show simply because she's been
she
scouting for friends for Gavin.
My man needs friends.
Gavin needs friends.
But I was going to say.
Double D's are welcome.
Double D.
And there goes that country tough right sense of humor.
Not you, me.
I love how Eve just shit on you. She's wearing a diaper, just for everybody wondering. And Dawn just props her up and starts feeding her more milk.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, let's load her up, baby.
Let's get her chunkier.
Let's load her up.
I was going to say, what's that movie called? Interstellar?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Anyone out there that gives a shit about movies and wants to see, like, one of the best movies ever, and you want a really fucking hard cry, like down to your core shattered cry, because you're like, fuck, that's life, and that's terrifying and beautiful, and holy shit. Interstellar. Matthew McConaughey.
Very
because I decided to remove the H. McConaughey.
He disappears.
McConaughey. It's incredible, and Gavin was sort of referencing a little bit of that.
The context is that you both have been in a relationship for about 10 years now, right? Mm-hmm. So for the listeners out there who are also in long-term relationships, probably want to know a little bit more about that, and specifically if their experiences are relatable to yours. And we can, like, you know, maybe however comfortable you guys are getting into certain things, but I think the most important thing that I wanted to ask is, like, why do you think it's worked for so long?
Why has it worked for so long?
I would say one thing. If you're lucky enough to have a dream, and in this dream, either you stray or your partner is straying, and life as you knew it is kind of fucked up, and you're really, really, like, devastated over it, that is, like, a good sign.
Oh, waking up from a dream and being
so
like,
I had a
thank
dream
God.
that my partner, my wife, was not interested anymore, and she was seeing other people, and it was devastating. So, and on the day-to-day, like, I don't, like, feel that, like, sadness because she gives me tons of love, and I don't have anything to take for granted. But in that dream, though, like, losing that was...
I'll pick up from there. Or the other lady in his life, the other woman in his life is asking for attention. That's very sweet. I didn't know about that dream. Yeah. I just knew about the one where you were getting chased by mafia, or what was it?
That was a bad one too. But in this dream, like, it was very Christian Grey-esque, and she's like, if you would ever want me to, whatever, like, do something wrong behind this guy's back, I don't know who this new guy was, I would never do it. And I was like, fuck.
Oh, like, I was devoted to this
like,
new man.
Right. It was a new kid in town, for sure.
It was a new kid in town.
So there you go. It was devastating. And I knew there's many reasons I know that I love Dawn besides that, but, like, that's,
no, but I like
that's
that.
certainly a great sanity
I think
check.
that captures it. Yeah, but I would say the one thing, and we were just talking about this earlier, and Gavin said something very sweet. He said, as time goes on, like, what was it? As time goes on, like, you want to be with me.
My desire to be with you increases.
The desire to be with me increases, which is pretty dang cool to hear from your partner. I will say, one of the things that I love about our relationship is, well, it also matters, like, what you value most in life, right? Like, I love to laugh. I'm assuming a lot of people do, but I'm like, humor is huge to me. It's fucking huge. I love to be funny. I love to, like, goof around, and to have a partner that very much has that high on the list, and for us to share that together. Like, there are things that we laugh about, like, catch or say or whatever, and I'm like, no one, as Taylor Swift said, we have a secret language that no one else speaks, or something like that. You showed me colors. You remember?
Yeah.
You showed me a secret language that no one else speaks.
Yeah.
T Swift. That's very much how I feel about Gavin. I'm like, man, like, again, I don't know if we said it on this podcast or if we said it earlier today, like, we have not multiple soulmates, but multiple people that we could probably be with out there. Mm-hmm. And yes, if, things didn't work out, he'd find someone, I'd find someone. I don't think I could ever replicate this, ever. Like, so humor, long story short.
I think that it's a little more simplistic.
Sorry, that was like I was dealing with looking. It wasn't good enough.
No, it's really good. You captured it. To me, two categories. One of them being respect, and another being stimulation. Stimulation can be a number of things. Intellectually, like sexually, all that kind of good stuff. Probably humor falls into that category as well. But respect is, like,
big.
It's huge. Like, once you break that, like, I think a lot of things fall apart. Even with, like, your parent-child relationship, even, like, once you lose that respect, like, shit, that kind of, like, it's like finding out Santa Claus isn't real. But it's not the biggest reason, but one of the biggest reasons I love Dawn is I love to share things with her, and I respect her feedback, and I can't wait, because I respect her feedback, I can't wait to share it with her and hear her feedback. So it's like, very much what I kind of picture for the baby someday. It's like, I can't wait to show her this movie. I can't wait to show her this wine, this song, whatever. And
Because
so-
you're genuinely curious. And when you say feedback, right, it could maybe be like feedback in the sense of like constructive or just generally just her thoughts is what you're saying. Like you're invested in her thoughts and you want to know her point of view.
Zero
on things.
preference if it's positive or negative. It's great both ways.
Oh, I think that's important because if you're in a relationship and if the respect isn't there, I think also let me rewind. I think your measuring stick was pretty a good one. Oh, baby. I think your measuring stick was a good one to say, like, if you think about your current long-term, like your current relationship right now and the thought of your person being with someone else, right, doesn't bother you, then that I think is saying something. But also, I don't know, that can get a little tricky. I would agree with that statement. That's how I would personally feel. But I also kind of talking about what we mentioned earlier is like, people in long-term relationships, that landscape is changing and like polyamory, open relationships, that kind of stuff. So I don't think, right now I'm not talking about it in that context. I think specifically in the context of being in a long-term relationship where you know for a fact that that is not what you want for your relationship, I think that's a pretty good measuring stick.
No, it's I was thinking about, as we were chatting about it earlier, it's like, it's what makes it interesting because everybody wants their cake and eat it too, and I certainly do as well. But like, if you ever played like really intense board games and you get down to your last couple moves, you're like, oh, I need to do X, Y, and Z, but there's a constraint. You only have so much time, or you only have so many resources left. And I view kind of like the decision to get married the same way. It's like, wow, I met this amazing person. I'd love to go on like meeting a bunch of beautiful people. But you got to start playing this constraint game. You're going to get fucking uglier and like less desirable to be with. Maybe the next person won't find you, intellectually stimulating, and maybe you won't find them stimulating. At some point, a lot of people will say this is almost like settling. It's like, what is the most optimal settling that you can do is what I kind of view marriage. And for me, I think I fucking hit the jackpot on optimal settling.
I think I think that there are going to be two like trains of thought that some people listening would have, and I personally resonate with yours in the sense, and that's not to say, I think people see settling today as like bad, like, and you see so many things online like don't settle, like don't settle for, pretty much the message is like don't settle. The message a lot of times is like, if this isn't working out for you, then leave. If today in our, like, and I think I'm speaking specifically like in a social media context, which is why I'm like, I took a big break from it also because I think the influences of it are like bullshit. A lot of the messages out there tell us to run when it's not easy because it's like self-preservation or, but when you look at what a long-term like committed relationship is, it's not about leaving when it gets hard. It's about pushing through together and like making it work. That concept of monogamy and like long-term marriage and the days of like, grandparents being together for 60 years is sort of, we're in the generation now where we're getting to either recreate that or not. I think that we're in a generation now where we get the chance to like recreate what that long-term marriage / relationship looks like, that is not the same narrative as our grandparents or parents, for example, who stayed in a relationship for 40 years and weren't really happy in it. Mm-hmm. As long as we learn how to fucking communicate with each other, mm-hmm. I think we can recreate that in a way that looks different than what it did before. Mm-hmm. But then I also think that the other train of thought, I think so some people, a lot of them are still very like, yeah, like leave if it gets hard. Like if it's not serving me and if it's not serving, what I want, then I'm going to leave. But then there's also the fine line of like, when do you stay and when do you go? Mm-hmm. And that's all I got.
Well, I was while you were saying that, I was thinking like, for better for worse, like is pretty much what like our grandparents and whoever else like stuck by, right? It's like, well, we made these vows and we need to like adhere to them. Why the fuck do you need to do that? If you're unhappy and if you've like, clearly, obviously commitment is commitment. And if you love the person, you respect the person, and you know, you're going through hard times and it feels like it's maybe not panning out, but you know, you've tried it all. You've tried the therapy. You've tried the like, whatever it is. Why the fuck would we ever just, because we've made a vow? Like, what about the vows that we've not secretly, but like probably silently made to ourselves, right? To like love ourselves, to put ourselves first, to like respect ourselves, to like provide, to like live the happiest version of our lives, to like, I don't know, all that. Like, where the fuck does that fit in if you're in an unhappy marriage and you're just like, well, you know, but I made those vows. So
that's what I mean though, right? Like, yeah, that's like the old way of, I think the old way of looking at it is for better or for worse. But, and that couple not doing anything to make it better from worse, because no matter what, it's going to get rocky in like a long-term relationship. Like, yeah, you're two different people that come from completely different like backgrounds and ways of being. Like it's unrealistic to think that it's going to be perfect all the time. So, but I agree with what you're saying. I think as long as, you know, two people love each other and have the willingness to try it out, that's great. And then if at a certain point it doesn't work out, then that's different. You know, then of course you don't stay just because that's what you're supposed to do, then you leave. I just think that today on social media, it's like really encouraging people to leave at the drop of a dime, and there's no grit and there's no resilience and there's no like grit or resilience when it comes to like working on your relationship, even when there's still love in the relationship.
Sure. Like you're kind of like, you're in the middle, or not in the middle, but I think they're like, everything, unfortunately, in life, there's a lot of like extreme thought and extreme action, like extremists and like their theory, not theories, but they're like practices, right? So there's the for better for worse kind of like really, really extreme mentality, old school mentality. And now what you're saying is like super prevalent on social media of like, you know, like, no, you gotta YOLO, like you're not happy, get the fuck out and get out fast. But it sounds like you're kind of like in the middle, which is where I'm at, I think, too. I mean, obviously, to each their own. Like, no one is going to know what to do in your relationship better than you. And I think there's the moral compass that you have to, like, obviously, your own moral compass that you have to follow. And at the end of the day, like, you're going to know when it's time. Like, you're going to feel it. Your partner's going to feel it. There are a trillion situations that we all could be in, right? So I can't, like, I won't even give an example because there are way too many like scenarios of why someone would leave or whatever it is. But I think at the end of the day, like you'll know, you will know, right? Like whether it's you just not copping out, what's the word? Like if it's just you like throwing your hands up and kind of not being lazy, but just saying like, I'm done. Like, if you're just giving up, or if it's like, hey, I am walking away because it is the right thing to do. Like there's just a difference between the lazy like walking away and I gave it the fair shot that it deserved. I feel good about what I've put into this and the effort that I've put, and it's time. Yeah, you know, totally. It's time. Like, and sometimes most of the time, the harder decision is to walk away. It's and sometimes it's to stay. Staying is also a hard decision, but there's no easy anyway, it ain't easy. It ain't always gonna be rainbows and butterflies. Oh my god, no, that is for sure. So all right, team, it's 6:00. Eve has shit her pants, a big one. We've gone through many different trails today, talking about electoral college, emotional intelligence. Gavin needing friends. Gavin needs some friends, so hit us up if you want to be his friend. Talked about relationships and a bunch of other things. And Eve made an appearance with her little poopy cries. Oh my God, so strong of cries. Not this time, but a full episode that we could do on, oh my God, now I forgot. Just the actual relationship, not babies, not on any of that stuff, but like
Yeah.
what you were saying, like it's not always going to be easy. Like we won't touch on it this time, but like you were talking about the honeymoon phase.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. The honeymoon phase. Like Gavin and I
Yeah.
had a little bit of that in the beginning.
Yeah.
And very, very quickly it turned into the worst phase of our relationship to this day. And we've been together almost 10 years where it was like, get fucking like rubbing out the kinks, like cleaning out the fucking closets, having the fucking tough conversations, like the shit that you're just like, Jesus Christ, doesn't this come after like 20 years of marriage, not like
Nope.
2 years of a relationship? And being obviously able, we were lucky enough, because I do think it took both of us, you know, making the effort and like really trying to change our communication style, blah, 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 but also lucky enough to be able to have like find the right tools to get like past it. And now living like a new honeymoon phase, like different from like the beginning where you just met. But so that could be an interesting topic to like really, because I think that's one thing. I don't know, obviously like things are changing now, and like in our 30s, like you hear more people like a little less hush about like what's happening behind closed doors, and like everything is rainbow and butterflies in the relationship. Like, oh yeah, everything's great. You know, like no one wants to share the bad stuff. And that's changing, I think, like a lot in conversations. But that would be like, I think, interesting to dive into for people to hear this and be like, oh fuck, like I'm not the only one that's like gone through that has, you know, this in the relationship or doesn't have enough of that or whatever it is. Like that would be really cool to
I agree.
one day dive into.
I agree. And listeners, if that's something that you'd be interested in hearing, let me know. And we'll arrange a part 2 to today's episode. But I think for now, we're going to bring it to a close. As always, I want to say thank you so much for listening. Sending you a big, big hug. And until next time, we'll see you later.
And a little pat on the butt.
With a little pat on the butt.
Consensual pat on the butt.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Introspectively Speaking. If you haven't already, please give the show a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple. Do you think someone could benefit from listening to this episode? Engage in my favorite love language and share this podcast with someone you know. Until next time, sending you a big, big hug. This podcast was written, recorded, and produced by me, Amber Linette. And the theme music you've been hearing is a song called Mirrors by pianist and songwriter Santi Alfaro.